Hi. In this demonstration, I'm going to take you through the final setting up of all the properties. The properties have been set up with mostly default values at the moment. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pick a property, and I'm going to show you how to make all the final settings. Once I've shown you the first property, then all the other properties work in a similar way. So the first step is to log in. If you navigate to websiteguy.co.uk, this is a temporary domain, but in every other respect it'll work exactly the same as your own domain. So start by putting a / in and then typing login. Okay, and then hit the enter key. And we should see the login coming up. Now your login username is Hertvilla, which I should have sent you by email, and the password is given in the email, and I'll just type that in now. Okay, and then click login. Okay, now the first thing that I would emphasize is that you've got a fair old selection of options down the left hand side here, and that is because you're actually logged in as an administrator. Now the administrator is the most powerful role in WordPress, so you can literally do anything, and what I would urge you to do is not touch anything that I haven't shown you here. I mean, for instance, there's a rather inviting bit of text at the top here that says WordPress 3.6 is available, please update now. Do not update to 3.6 because we have yet to prove that 3.6 is compatible with some of the plugins that you're using to achieve some of the smart things that the website does. So just confine yourself for the moment to just running through the process that I give you. If you have any questions about any of the other stuff, then by all means ask away, and I'll help you with them. So to the first property, you'll find that there's an option here called Properties. Move the mouse over it and then choose All Properties, and just give that a quick click, and it'll take a couple of seconds to populate. But you'll find the first property there is RM103, and a little picture here to help you identify it. And as we go down the list, you've got 106, 107, 110, and so on. Now this list is made unnecessarily long, really, because these features are all the sort of checkboxes that we've got to choose from, and I'll show you how to deal with those later. The list is very long because there is absolutely every option set for every property, and what I'm hoping that you're going to do is you're going to go through all the properties and disable most of these, because almost certainly every property or a property won't have all of the options. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is start at the beginning, and we'll edit RM103. Now if you come down here, you'll find an edit link. Edit this item. Click on there, and we get something which is much more recognizable. The first thing that we need to check is the title. Now I've set it up this way primarily because it makes it easy for me to keep track of everything. You know, a townhome or a townhouse on Emerald Island means nothing to me, but RM103 does. You may wish to leave the RM103 there, or alternatively you may wish to put it in like this at the end, for example. I suspect that it's probably a townhouse in Emerald Island rather than on Emerald Island, and so on. But whatever, make that title your own. Now the next little bit that you can tweak is this bit here, which is your introduction. I would say probably you need more than a couple of lines, but that's very much up to you. We'll see when we finish the first property what this looks like, you know, at the end of the day. So you can change that to whatever you like. Now, the next two lines in square brackets are very special lines, because the first one, this one, is the line that generates your booking calendar. Now, don't touch that line at all for the moment. The next one is generating your booking form, okay? And all you want to do with the booking form is just check that this number here, RM103, does actually match the property that we've allocated it to. I've worked through them all and they should all be okay, but I may have made a mistake in one or two. Okay. Now, if we just move down the page here, we've got, this is the block where we actually set up the booking calendar. Now, again, this has generally been done. I think this has not been done. We need to, sorry, yes, it has been done. You'll find that this drop down here defaults, when you've used it, it defaults to the first one in the list. But actually, it has generated, the way this works, just very briefly, is if you choose 106, for example, and you want to show 4 months, what you need to do is set it up here and highlight that and then click Send Token to the editor. And what this button does is it makes up a definition of that particular calendar and writes it into the editor. So you'll see if you click on there, you actually have a view of 4 months, which is not what we want really. So if we set the correct values, that's 103, you want to show 2 months, leave the others as they are, highlight this first of all, and then send a token to the editor, and you can see that it's set up properly then. Moving on to the general information, you've got some options here. Now, the pool you can set to either no pool at all, which is just a default. It doesn't tell you anything at all about it. You can say positively that there is no pool, or there's a community pool, heated and unheated, and so forth. Okay, so again, you set that up to the option for this particular property. And the checkboxes are self-explanatory. You can specify hot tub, kiddie pool, air conditioning, and so on. Property heating. One of the questions I've got for you is the air conditioning is either yes or no. I mean, having lived in the States for 4 years, I know that you can either have central air, or you can have these individual air conditioners, boxes that sit on the windowsill or whatever. I don't know if any of your more upmarket villas have anything other than central air. Probably they don't. But we need to talk about that, because I suspect there may be more options for air conditioning than just yes or no. Moving down here, this again should be set up, but just double check. This is the full address, including your zip code. Now, the reason for putting this in is so that it generates the correct position in your Google map. Now, worry not, because although you're putting the full address in the back end here, all that appears on the front end is the more or less approximate position on Google Maps. It doesn't show the address. I've suppressed that on the front end. So there's no question of somebody being able to look at the properties and then turn up right on the doorstep, given a full address. If you find, and you should have the correct postal addresses, but if you find for some reason that the address that you put in here gives you somewhere in Texas or whatever, then you do have the option to set coordinates manually. And there is a process which is fairly simple to go through. which you can Google, and you can find the exact latitude and longitude as I have done here, to avoid any error. But generally, I think you'll find most of the addresses that I put in here do actually generate the correct address in Florida, in Orlando. The rate is the rental rate. Now, you can put this in or not. I was a bit confused as to how you set this up, because as I recall, all your properties on the old site had a standard fixed rate, and I didn't know whether that was something that was forced on you or something that you'd opted into. But this is where you would set the weekly rate. There is also a page called rental rates on the website, so you could actually, if you want to go back to the way you did it on the old website, we can always do it that way. The important thing to remember here, though, is this bit: numbers only. So don't put in £350 or whatever, just the numbers. I've set it up localized for British pounds, but there is a place elsewhere in the admin panel where you can select dollars, and again we can decide on that later on. Bedrooms and bathrooms, I've allowed up to 8 bedrooms, which sounds reasonable, but we can easily change that. Bathrooms, I've added 3.5 baths up to 6. Again, we can easily extend that. The deposit, although it's in there, I've left that blank for the moment. You may wish to put that in or not. And the location, I've added the locations that you gave me, and it's just a question of checking the correct one. The phone number is you have the option to specify a phone number for that particular property. I've set a default phone number which will show up as this one has if you don't overwrite it. So if you just ignore the phone number, you'll get this number, 4256, which I think is your office number, your realty office number. If for some reason for this owner you want to put in the owner's phone number, then you may put it in here and it will overwrite the default. But for now, I think we just leave it as the default number. Now, at that point, once you've changed anything in there, what I'd like you to do is go up here and update. And just watch the spinner. It'll change. And it's updated. Okay. Now, at that point, if you want to do a double check, you can come up here and view the property. Okay, and that's your townhome on Emerald Island. Now, don't worry too much about the photo gallery here, okay, because that should already be set up, and I'll talk you through setting that up in another tutorial. But you can see here that we've got the availability calendar for 103, which is the right one. You selected 2 months. Now, you'll see that if you select any more than 2 months, it's going to throw the display out of kilter. And underneath here you've got the booking form, and again just double check it's the booking form for RM103, and you can choose your begin and end dates and all the rest of it. You'll find, just incidentally, this is quite clever because you can't actually send anything until you have clicked the rental terms box, and in fact you can pop that up and read it like so. Okay. So once you have checked that the details are the same, you can just have a quick look at this. This is the list of features, and you can see now why it's so long, because you've got every conceivable option in here. Okay, and I'll show you how to change those in the next step. And again, we've got the Google map, and it shows just a brief summary. We can fine-tune this as well. Okay, so what we need to do is to go back and get into the editing the properties again. And if you hover over here, we can go back to the dashboard, which is the sort of central control panel. And again, click on Properties, All Properties. And you can see after a few seconds, we've got RM103. We can forget about that now. And you go on to RM106. Sorry, I forgot. I was going to show you how to set the features. We're not quite finished with RM103. So edit again. Right, now we've checked all the left-hand side and we've proven that it's okay. Now, if we move to the right-hand side, you've got features here. Now, I've set up this already. Again, I'll show you how to do this from scratch in another tutorial. But what you need to do is to work through, we've got air conditioning central, air conditioning per room. Now, this is, I did say we had to discuss this. Basically, you have set air conditioning, you enabled, so it has air conditioning. What you need to do here is just to check air conditioning central, for example. So if you don't need air conditioning per room, so click on this X and you'll see it'll disappear. If it doesn't have a baby crib, you can get rid of that. In fact, if it's not set up for babies at all, get rid of everything. Barbecue, gas or charcoal. That's got a gas barbecue in this case, say so. Okay, you get the idea. Get rid of the blender. If it doesn't have a CD player, probably doesn't have a cassette player in my experience, but and so on. No copier, no fax machine, no high chair. These are grouped, by the way, alphabetically, so that's why the high chair isn't grouped with the children's equipment. Come to hot tub 2, 4, 6, or 8. Let's say it's for 6 people, so you can get rid of 8, 4, and 2, and so on. Pool. Let's say it's got gas heating, so you can get rid of the electric heating and the unheated. No printer, probably doesn't have a privacy fence. Property heating, electricity or gas, gas in this case. I think you're getting the idea here. VCR washing machine and a yard. Okay. Now, once you've cut that list down, you can update. Now, all I'd say is try and be careful when you do this, because you can, if you delete something, you can put it back. Okay. And you can put it back in 2 ways. You can first of all type it in there and press add. For instance, you could put in, let's say, garbage disposal, and click add. Now, in here somewhere, you've got garbage disposal. Okay, so anything that you delete accidentally, you could put back in manually. Now, why I don't recommend that is because if you make a mistake, a spelling error, for example, then it's going to look a little bit odd. Okay, so let's just get rid of that, and I'll show you. Let's update it, and I'll show you how you can put something back in should you update it accidentally. Now, we've updated this, so we might actually go back and have a look at the property again. And right, you can see that this is now, much more reasonable. But I'll leave it up to you. You've got the full list there. I'll leave it up to you what you actually put in there. I mean, personally, I'm not sure if it makes that much difference whether I know it's got a coffee maker or a radio, for example. Some of these are definitely deal breakers. I mean, clearly, air conditioning, for example, central air, is fairly important, and I don't think that should be omitted. But certainly when you get down to things like coffee makers and microwaves. Is there an American house without a microwave oven? I don't know. Anyway, let me just now show you how to reinstate deleted items that you've got rid of by accident. We'll start off by going back again to the dashboard. Now, this time, instead of choosing properties, I want you to go to pages, and again click on all pages. Now, this is where you can actually edit the pages in your website. Simple as that. However, there is one page in here which is a little bit special, and this is called Features List. And you'll see that it's a private page, so it's not published on the website. And the reason for that is if you edit this page, you'll see that it's nothing more than a list of your options. And in fact, what you do when you're setting up a new property is if you click in here and press Control A, you'll select them all, then Control C, and then you can go back to the property page, and in that little text box where we type garbage disposal, you can paste all of these and then click Add, and that generates the whole list. So let's say that we had deleted, what did we delete? Well, we certainly deleted the hot tub 2-person. I know because we set it to a 6-person tub. So if you want to reinstate that, just that option, make sure that you'll see there's a comma at the very end there. Do not select the comma. Now, the easiest way to do this is not with the mouse at all, but it is in fact to put the cursor at the end of the row, use the left arrow to go one space to the left, hold down the Shift key and select it like this, and it's very accurate. You can select exactly one character at a time, and then when you've done that, Control C to copy it, or you can right click and click on copy. Now, you don't want to save this or anything because all you're doing is just picking up the information from here. So go back to your properties again, and it was 103 that we were dealing with, so edit 103. Now you'll see down here we've got a 6-person hot tub, and it should actually be 2. So you can paste that in there, and you know that that is the defined version of a 2-person hot tub. No spelling errors or any other differences. And then you can press Add, and you've got a hot tub 2-person there, and you can go back and you can delete the 6-person one. Okay? And then of course, once you've done that, you've got to update it. And there we go, and we can view the property again, and hey presto, hot tub, yes, 2-person hot tub. Okay, and it really is as simple as that at this stage. Obviously setting up a property is more complex, but as I said before, we'll do a separate tutorial on that. This has taken about 24 minutes to run through, but there's a lot of chat in here, and to be absolutely honest, it takes about 10 times longer to make the tutorial than it does to actually edit the property. You'll find that you should zip through these properties because you know them, you will know how to describe them, and it should take no more than about 5 minutes per property. Okay, thank you very much.